Hi everyone, this is a continuation of part 1, and if you have not seen part 1, check it out in the links provided to get on with the flow. You fully understand the conspiracy behind the Queen's necklace case. Assane has to investigate Mr. Pellegrini, who has since then fortified himself in his mansion after receiving Dumont's warning sent them the Alexa speaker. Assane uses a drone to spy on him while he is sleeping and snoop on the documents from his home office. However, the drone triggers laser alarm that spooks off sleeping Mr. Pellegrini. His men manage to capture the drone, and with it comes a message. "I will get you." Maybe he deliberately tripped the alarm to deliver that message to him. Assane stalks Dumont and corners him while eating breakfast at a cafe. He brazenly harasses and asks Dumont what he told Mr. Pellegrini about the new guy in the necklace case, and Assane still uses Dumont's wife as blackmail to extract information from him. It works, and Dumont caves in, telling him that the only way to bring down Mr. Pellegrini is to enlist the services of Fabienne Barriette. Fabienne is an investigative journalist who leads a reclusive life with her dog and is one of Mr. Pellegrini's many victims. She was blacklisted from her job after her stories about Pellegrini's dirty money were publicly discredited. Assane visits her pretending to have an autograph on her book, but he wants to enlist her in bringing down Pellegrini. Fabienne is hesitant to provide information about Mr. Pellegrini because when she exposed him 25 years ago, she faced an army of lawyers who made her life living hell and thinks the man in front of her has come to finish her off. However, Assane tells her about his dad, his childhood, and how they have a common enemy in Mr. Pellegrini. Nonetheless, Fabienne is still hesitant because Pellegrini is too powerful and well connected in both high and low places. Detectives inform Dumont how his kidnapping is connected to the necklace he handled 25 years ago. The detectives pitch the idea to Dumont that the kidnapper used the same style and craft as the Arsene Lupin of the book, a copycat, and he is connected to several theft and criminal cases in the city. Fabienne says she might have information that can bring down Mr. Pellegrini, but the evidence is in her old work office. Assane has to break in to retrieve it. Assane takes her to his workstation, and they discuss how Mr. Pellegrini has ruined their lives. Assane, who lost his father, and Fabienne, who lost her credibility as investigative journalist. This seems to embolden both of them to pursue Mr. Pellegrini and expose him to the world. The police managed to create a sketch profile of how the bidder from the auction looked like, and the image of the person of interest generated resembles Assane. To retrieve the evidence in the VHS tape, Dumont disguises as an informant dropping off files to a reporter. Fabienne's dog is trained to bark whenever Mr. Pellegrini's name is mentioned. Retrieving the file is easy, and Assane breaks no sweat convincing the guards to let him in. However, the guards discover they have been fooled as Fabienne no longer works from the building, and they give a chase, but he manages to escape with Fabienne acting as a getaway driver. The evidence in the tape is that of the Koala attack of 1996 and implicates Mr. Pellegrini, who can be seen negotiating an arms deal. The terrorist attack killed innocent civilians, and Fabienne discovered that the middleman who aided the attack was Mr. Pellegrini. The attack was on the French embassy, which was an act of revenge on Mr. Pellegrini after he swindled arms traffickers. Fabienne believes the insurance payout from the necklace was used to save his company that was on the verge of bankruptcy in 1995. That is why he framed his chauffeur Mr. Babacar as the thief. Assane uses Twitter to expose Mr. Pellegrini's tape using an ultimatum tweet for him to come clean on his atrocities. While talking to the press to refute the allegations, Fabienne gets too excited and exposes herself by asking about the Koala terrorist attack, and with that she puts a target on her back. Commissioner Dumont is provided with sketches of possible images based on eyewitness accounts. He dismisses all of them, even the one that looks like Assane, and tells the detectives they have 2 more weeks to apprehend the alleged kidnapper. Dumont has never disclosed to the investigators, no matter how much they pressure him or give information, why he was kidnapped in the first place. To them, it's as if Dumont is stonewalling the investigations and is not cooperating with them at all. They are getting very suspicious of Dumont, who is dismissing every possible lead that can uncover the kidnapper's motive. Assane attends an interview on primetime TV show pretending to be the man behind the anonymous Twitter message who wants to expose a careless man. However, the VHS tape had been edited by the news company to show that Mr. Pellegrini never made the deal, and he is gleefully watching Assane's plot unravel from the lobby. He wants Assane arrested, but he beats his men on his way out, taking them one by one. Juliet rings her father, informing him that she thinks the man at the interview is Assane Diop, the son of his former chauffeur, the late Mr. Babacar. For Mr. Pellegrini, chicken have come home to roost. Mr. Pellegrini's thug goes to Fabienne's house and roughs her up, asking for Assane's home address. When Assane later visits her, he finds what appears as Fabienne has ended herself. He is grief-stricken by the tragedy, and he takes her dog and leaves. Assane thinks Fabienne's tragedy is his fault, He pulled her in this mess after she had already come to terms with her fate as a disgraced journalist. His friend warns him that he is against very dangerous and powerful forces. Meanwhile, the detective starts piecing together aspects of the Pellegrini necklace, but he is missing something. He also compares the Assane Lupin acts and what has transpired in recent days, but without actionable leads the investigation stalls. Assane gets a hunch that he is being tamed and makes a break for it. Jumping across rooftops, he manages to dust him with a smile. On his son's birthday, he gifts him an Assane Lupin-inspired costume. It seems like Assane wants his son to follow his path, or maybe he is his fan. In 2006, Claire confesses to her therapist that she worries about her husband because she doesn't know what he does for a living. While she's at the therapist, Assane is up and about fooling cops on a crime scene he has stage managed. With it, he manages to fool an older woman into giving him her most precious jewels for safekeeping. She willingly gives her gold and diamonds for safekeeping to a random fellow who claims to be a detective, and among them is a precious collector's item. Present day, Claire, Assane and their son go on a trip for his birthday, and they look like one happy family as they have animated conversations. However, in a flashback, when Assane is dropping off his loot to his friend in a restaurant, Juliet enters and Assane follows her into the washrooms. Assane tells her he can't do it anymore as he is now committed to Claire, and this is where we learn Assane was dating both Claire and Juliet at the same time. This could be due to the fact that Claire was pregnant with their son. Juliet tells Assane that she won't let him go as she loves him dearly and they are meant for each other and they can work it out, but he walks away, leaving her with earrings as a parting gift, and a heartbroken Juliet tears up. The same thug is trailing Assane and his family and he is uncomfortable. Claire is seeing someone else, and Assane jokingly teases her about it and tells her it was their son who snitched on her. Assane decides to celebrate his son's birthday on the train, leads the birthday song, and the whole carriage joins in and gets a clear view of the thug. To handle his pursuer, Assane leads him away from his family towards the back of the train and he takes the bait. The two end up fighting, throwing few quick punches and ducks here and there, resulting in Assane overpowering him and locking him in a storage room. To shed more light on Claire and Assane's relationship, in a flashback, Claire had told Assane to find a quiet place, but he chose a fancy restaurant instead. After an argument, she tells him that she is pregnant and Assane is over the moon with the news. Claire was unsure of how Assane would react. She thought he wouldn't care, but here is Assane announcing to everyone that he will be a father. Though embarrassing, Claire is both happy and relieved after seeing Assane's reaction. News of child have maybe made Assane grow fonder, or maybe he has always loved Claire. But in the same restaurant, the woman he stole jewelry from recognizes him and they hastily exit the restaurant. The thug joins Assane and his family on the train, much to his annoyance as he takes a seat beside them. It is the audacity of the thug that baffles him. To get rid of the thug, Assane texts the police informing them that Paul Sana and the man who was bidding the necklace at the auction is in the train and describes him. We find that the thug is trapped and he intends to shoot Assane if he does not follow his instructions. However, the description to the police was about a man wearing a beige coat which fits what the thug is wearing. At the train station, the thug is arrested and frisked. A gun and one stone from the Queen's necklace diamonds is retrieved, which is enough for the chase to be called off. At least, Assane can now take a breather and re-strategize. At the beach, Claire confronts Assane on who the man on the train was and he tells her that it is something to do with his father, and he has it under control. Claire is angry at Assane because he has never discussed anything about his father for the 25 years they have been together, and bringing it up now has ruined their outing as a family once again. Assane has never been forthcoming about his life history, and it always veers at the wrong time. At the station, the detectives realize the man they have arrested does not match the sketches they have, and the description is off. Commissioner Dumont had fingered the thug as the one who had kidnapped him, and is clearly annoyed by his detectives who are questioning his credibility. Meanwhile at the beach, Claire and Assane realize they cannot see their son in the crowd. They try calling out his name, but there is no answer. Panicked, they frantically search for him, checking out other people, especially those who are wearing the Assane Lupin costume or calling his cell phone. It is at this moment that the detective shows up at the beach and shouts the name Lupin. Assane turns around to see the same detective who was at the auction when the necklace was stolen. That's part 2 of this recap. Subscribe to the channel to be notified when the next recap comes up.